which I think is October 5th to December 14th, 4 fish at 16 inches. But Joey just informed me here from Fred Galafaro, the Fisherman magazine, on a Facebook post, I suppose, that said that the tautog season will be open in April now as well. Yep.
The saying now is April 1st, the whole month of April, 2 fish, that's 16, I believe.
So now you guys can get a spring fisher, I believe. So that's good news finally, you know. And actually, let's Joe, I'll start with you. Let's talk about, since we do have that April fishery right now. You know, generally people know that those togs start migrating back inshore in the springtime. Where are you locating these fish in the April time frame? I know you guys have been fishing the fall mostly in the past few years, but now what's going to be your plan for the springtime? What's happening?
Well, in the spring, definitely shallow water. You're going to fish shallow waters. The bays are really good. The structures, the bridges. You know, before Sandy, we had a tremendous amount of structure in our bay. There was boats and rock piles and whatever. There was tons of stuff that we used to fish and catch. Really, you know, 10+ pounds was not, you know, uncommon to catch one. But after Sandy, they scooped that all up. So now that bay is kind of like not much really in there anymore. So we still have your bridges, you can fish, all that area. Anything shallow, like those 30 to 40 feet of water, you know, that's where you want to be. Also with the winter, the spring, you want to use the soft baits now. Not so much the hard baits. Because, you know, if it's cold, you'll notice the fish's lips are going to be red, you know, from the cold. So, you know, use your clams, shrimp, believe it or not, you use shrimp. And of course, everyone's favorite, the hermit crab.
Right.
So
you can find them, right?
If you can, right? But there's nothing, I would still use a crab anyway, but I would just really crush it down. You know, just make it very soft.
So you're basically targeting the shallows, which I totally agree with as well. We find them in our canals and off like the inlet jetties and wrecks that are closer. Sal, off Montauk, where are you going to be targeting these fish in the springtime?
Well, you're going to start what's closest to you. You're going to start with shagworm. You know, big rock piles there. It's a reef. You're going to check Great Eastern Reef. Are you going to run all the way over to Fishers, which we usually do? Normally we run to Fishers, we run to Rhode Island, we run to later in the season, we go into deeper water, we go out, you know, to Cartwright, and you're anchoring in 105 feet of water. But I think it's a brand new game for us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to the commercial fishermen I know, because the season's all year round, and they're fishing hopefully all year round. But this is a brand new thing, so we're going to experiment. We're going to find where they're hiding out. I mean, you know, for me on a charter, taking people that catch 2 blackfish, I mean, maybe I can combine it with a porgy trip. But that's what we'll probably do. But we've got to find them, and it's the rock piles.
All right, Deena, since you have a unique perspective here with the charter boat or the party boat, you know, you got so many back pocket spots, I'm sure. Where are you looking for in the springtime? Are you like, you know, running to like the south side of the rock piles or wrecks, or are you staying close to shore?
We'll probably stay close to shore. We have the option in Shancock of going into the Peconic, which is nice. There's a lot of structure in there for blackfish in the springtime. And even right around the jetties in Shancock, a lot of people don't know, right at the end of the west jetty, you could just even walk down the rocks and cast over there. We actually anchor the boat sometimes right off the end of the jetty. Right. We kind of annoy some of the rock people sometimes, but that's where, you know, it's where we like to fish sometimes, because we do get blackfish there. There's also a couple of good spots right inside the inlet that we'll hit in the spring. One particular spot on the west side where ivy comes up. If you can locate that, that's a great place to fish too.
Right. And it's funny, Alberto, we were talking behind the scenes here about, you know, how you and I like that springtime bite for the jetties. Talk a little bit about that right now in the spring when those fish are in close.
Well, first of all, we have to understand why these fish are there in the springtime. We all know, actually, a lot of people don't know that that's their spawning time. They do come in very close to the shore, and let me backtrack a little bit.
Sure.
I've been talking for the longest time, going way back in Sheephead Bay, when the period people called it a trash fish. You know, now it has totally changed, and now it has become one of the most sought after fish. Right. Given that I've used to fish tautog, okay, for better terms, in the early springs, very skinny water. How skinny water? We're looking at 4 to 6 feet in April. Right. April is the very beginning, and then it starts you know, they start spawning. These are the true legitimate spawners. These are the same fish, believe it or not, that you can go as deep as 150 feet of water, albeit we fish from here on the North Shore, you could be on the South Shore, all the way down to Virginia, because I target Tautogs throughout. And the fact of the matter, in the spring, they are very close. On the North Shore, find mussel beds, rock piles, pylons. If you even go to the South Shore, you can even, guess what? Jones Beach area, the back jetty, the West End 2, you have Fire Island, you have the back cove over there, Shinnecock, Moriches, and then other little estuaries, rocky structures. But yes, they are there. When you talk about bait, the reason why a lot of people don't talk about crabs, you know, let's talk about crabs. Let's talk about bait. Let's talk about everything. You know, you have an assortment. It all depends on the time of the year. Early spring, you have the Asian crab, which ironically enough, they start showing in April. You have Asian crabs, calico crabs, you have hermit crabs, you have the white crabs, you have it goes on and on. But each time of the year, guess what? Each one of them has its power. When I say power, be careful when somebody says hermit crab, because that's plain dirty. But I like it.
Real dirty. Or not too, you know. But we'll get into debates when we're going to use them. But to go off your point about Asian crabs, you know, you don't even have to buy them in the store. I don't even know if they sell them up here, but go near the inlets, in the inlet areas, and just start picking up rocks on the low tides, and you'll be able to collect and see those little Asian crabs down there. But I want to get into anchoring here, actually. And Deena, I'm going to start with you, since you kind of have a more interesting perspective once again with such a large boat. Now, when you're out there, you're picking your structure, your rock pile, your wreck, whatever it may be. Tell us about like tips to anchor for tog, because you kind of, how big's the boat again?
The boat's about 47 feet.
Oh, okay, so
I'm not always running the boat, I'm working the deck.
Right.
But I'm right there on the deck when we're anchoring.
What's the tactic that you're going to anchor? Because as anyone knows with tog, they can be on one spot here, 10 feet away, they're not going to be there. So how are you anchoring? What are you doing?
There's two things that we do, actually. The first thing that we do is get to the spot and spread 2 anchors pretty far. And if you have a couple of rock piles around you and you can put your 2 anchors out, you can pull up on one, wiggle on the other. So if you're in this spot, this rock pile, you can let out on one anchor, pull up on the other, bridle over, and kind of just move from spot to spot in this area without having to re-anchor the whole boat. That's something we do a lot. Another thing we do is just set one anchor. If there's not too much wind, we do like a little bit of swing, actually, for blackfish.
Why is that?
I think movement. Think about jigging for blackfish. That's become really popular now. That's movement. We have found that kind of sometimes a slow drift over the piece helps the blackfishing. Not too much, but just a little bit. So those are 2 of the things we do there.
Well, I was just going to say, it's like, you know, guy is on one side of the boat catching all the fish.
Yes.
The other side of the boat can't get a bite. You know, I mean, blackfish are so finicky. You understand that, you know.
Not only they're finicky, they're very territorial.
Exactly.
And when you have when you're fishing a situation with party boats, you know, you have to play nice. When you're talking about nice, you also have to wear your roller skates. You know, when you use roller skates, when somebody's on the bite, somebody's always saying, oh, I'm stuck, or I'm snagged. You better be his best friend, because that's where all those big ones are going to be.
Right, and you know, it goes into mugging on the boat. That's another word.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But anchoring is always a challenge. You know that, guys. It's a challenge. You got the tide, you got the wind. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to get right on top of my spot and just let my boat drift the way it's going to drift. Okay, and that's when you use your GPS. Okay, that's when you start seeing what direction you're going, how fast the wind is pushing you, how fast the tide is pushing you. Then you run up on the piece again, and then you figure out what direction you want to drift back so that you're right over the spot. Some guys like to put a Clorox bottle right on the spot and drift back towards that. That works. And that's what I do. And it's never, you know, it's trial and error. If you're not used to anchoring, look, years and years ago when I, first, started boating, I didn't like to anchor. I know guys are shy about anchoring. And when in Montauk the currents are fierce, and then you don't know what you're doing with the anchor, you can get in a lot of trouble. So again, practice. Go into a shallow area on a nice day and practice. Practice your anchoring. Practice those skills. Practice how you drift back. practice to gauge the wind. So that's what I do, and hopefully get over the piece.
Right, and Joey, go ahead.
I
Because
just want to touch on this one too. Obviously, electronics now, it's a
Yeah.
game changer. You know, it's no more watching a clip and number go down on the RAN and stuff. But what you're saying is, it is right. Take that extra couple seconds, sit on a wreck, drift, find out where you're going. Now, what you can do, which will help a lot of people out with anchoring, is that you see which way you're going. You come on this angle. Now, take your cursor, go past your wreck, follow that line, and drop a mark right there. You know exactly where you got to go now. Go right up to that mark, pass, whether it be 100, 200 feet, depending on the depth of the water, and you're going to drop your anchor right there.
a marker or what?
This is my little trick thing here. Now, actually, this is the thing with double anchoring. It's great because I like to keep the boat as still as possible.
Sure.
And with that, you're going to build fish. You know, you'll see it slow in the beginning. What I like to do is I'll take the biggest crab I can find, crush the hell out of it, drop that down, and I call it shaking and bake. I don't know what it's called. I'll beat the hell out of the rod, right? Now that's shaking up that crab down here. It's breaking apart. I'm starting to cause a little chunks left. Another thing you do is all the parts you cut off, the crab legs, the shells, whatever it may be, instead of throwing it overboard, because a lot of times if that current's fast, well, that bait's going down there. You might be building fish down there, but yet you're sitting right here. So it's kind of like useless. Take all the parts and put them in a simple brown bag. Usually do this with flounder fishing and chum bomb. Fill this bag up, take a rope, little weight, tie it up, send it down. Give it a second, it's going to get wet. Pop it. Now all those parts are right underneath you. You just built up a little chum bed for yourself for the blackfish, and it will attract them.
That's playing dirty there, Alberto.
That's very dirty. That was you, buddy. When it comes to dirty fishing, that's what it's all about. The dirtier you get, the better you are. And now also with the double anchor, you're not moving, so all that stuff, goodness that you put underneath that boat is right there. You're not swinging; it's there.
Let's, hey, Alberto, let's start. Actually, that's so awesome. Let's, what baits we're using, and when you generally like to use them. Like, for instance, Joey mentioned earlier that in the springtime when those fish have those soft mouths going on, a lot of times they like fresh clams, and I'll just shuck a bunch of fresh clams with me, cut them into little tongue pieces, and I'll use those as baits. But, so for me, clamming kind of like, you know, is what I'm using in the early part of the season, then you drift as you know, as the season progresses.
It's the first indication when you know the toddler there, because you have to understand the dynamics of our water. You know, the flounder starts showing first, and I use target flounder. Using the mussels. Mussels is a great indicator, the yellow, and then, you know, then you start realizing, wait a minute, these baits are being stolen. So that's an indication either could be a buccal or could be a blackfish. All right. Now, what I normally do, and let's talk about playing dirty, and I'll give you, I know we have a short period of time, but I'm going to run down all about dirty baits. Dirty baits, you can go as far as you're looking at sandworm and bloodworm. Sandworm, I like it a lot early in the spring, absolutely deadly. All right, and you switch over to the Asian crabs, and then later you start using the green crabs. And let's talk about the dynamics of the green crabs, because guess what? You always find somebody, a ding dong like myself, go into this bushel of crabs, and you're actually selecting the crabs. I'm looking for the ones where it is orange belly, and the orange belly are basically the females. The females are carrying a lot of eggs, so therefore those are the ones that I want. I picked big crabs and smaller ones. Then I'll switch over to the Jonas. Jonas, back then everybody said, what the hell is a Jonas? It's a stone crab, it's a white crab. That is absolutely deadly. That's usually in the colder water and deeper water. Then it comes to the hermit. If you want to beat everybody on a party boat or charter boat, and if you have a buddy who actually thinks that he's better than you, and you know all the dirty tricks, if you want to beat the crowd, and if you want to win the pool, and if you want to shut the bite, correct me if I'm wrong, they're all laughing. If you want to shut the bite, put down a hermit, because hermit, I guess, is a drug, it's a crack, I don't know what it is. If there is a blackfish within about 30 feet parameter, I can guarantee you that fish is going to go in, grab it immediately. That's how you play dirty, and guess what? If you have a friend with a hermit on a party boat, don't ever let him drop the hermit down, because if you drop the hermit down, you're going to shut the bite down.
Where are you getting those hermit crabs, by the way, huh?
Commercial guys, you got to know. Suddenly in the fall, and later in the wintertime, they're your best friends. You're your best friend, you got to call, hey, you know, while they're shucking, you know, for all different kinds of crabs or what have you. I said, if you have those hermit crabs, you buy them.
Deena, so same way with conch too. If you know anyone who's like a conch potter or something like that, and you get that nice little tenderized piece, that's a great bait.
I tried that, but that's the scent kind of washes off quickly.
A little bit, I can agree with that. Deena, what are you guys doing for your baits? I mean, besides guys like Alberto who you get pissed at that are rifling through the crab trap there, what do you guys generally start with greenies like when you're on the boats and switch over, or what's happening?
Yeah, usually we just have green crabs on the boat. We do carry sometimes hermits and white crabs because we do have a connection to a commercial fisherman in Montauk who supplies me free, which helps. But we usually just use straight up green crabs. John that I work for, you'll very rarely see him put on a white crab or a hermit crab, although we do have them sometimes.
Right.
Just to initially, not always a good thing, but you might want to put one down. Okay, there's fish here. Get a bite, switch over to a green crab, kind of like your classic bait and switch with the hermit crabs. You don't like to use them all day. They do shut down the bite after a while. So we just pretty much stick to green crabs. It works.
Legs on or off? Half, whole?
Changes, completely changes on the conditions.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is if you do cut your green crabs, a nice clean cut is important. That's important. And there's a little trick about taking the legs off. Some of you guys know, when you have the whole crab, instead of cutting the legs with a scissor, which sometimes can get sloppy, if you just rip the ends of those legs off, they'll actually fall off because you're going to be trying to regenerate a new leg. And that leaves a really nice socket for you to put the hook into.
How are you hooking that crab? Because a lot of people do different things, or the hook head just falls off the hook. What are you doing? First, third, side?
In one leg socket, out the other. I change it up. I don't think there's one specific way. Working deck for so long, I've seen it all. I've seen it all work.
No, she is so right, because if you have a plan for tautoging, the fact is, you never know what kind of bite is going to happen. It could be a whole crab, a little crab, or if you just. But the fact is, have an open mind, because when it comes to togging, you know, a wind change, a temperature drop, or conditions, it changes rapidly. You know, so what you got to do is basically have an open mind and change method all the time. You can jig it, you can actually bucktail it, if you will, you know, or you can go use whole crab, little crab, and then use fluorocarbon. I mean, you've got to just change it up and never have this pre-notion going out there, this is how I'm going to fish. Don't get stuck in that method, because when it comes to togging, they will keep you humble, they will make you look stupid if you have a fixed mind.
Once you think you've figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. Once you figure it out, you're home.
You know you're on a talk boat when you hear the swearing to the left and right.
That never happens. No, talking, cursing never happens.
Yeah. But Deena, okay, we're going to actually look perfect. You got the rig out, because we're going to talk about everyone's rigs up here, what they like using. But is this the standard rig you put on everyone's?
I don't usually use this on everyone's rig on the party boat, just because it has two hooks. You had asked about hooking the crab.
Right.
Just because I think it gets a little dangerous taking the fish off the hook, but I prefer it. I don't know if you can see, there's one hook here. You set up your rig, you slide one hook on, and then you put on another. This gives you the chance to put two hooks in your crabs. You've seen the snafu rigs, two coming off.
Right.
I seem to prefer this. Sometimes I like to just put two legs, you know, in one leg on top of the other, in both sides of the crab. You know, anyway, it's versatile.
Is that greenies or just white leggers, or how you like, or one crab on each too? Or?
It changes. It gives you those options. Sometimes you'll cut a crab in half and put a piece on each hook, or you'll take the whole crab and put one leg, one hook in each side of the crab's legs. That's what I like to do, crack the shell a little bit.
All right.
That's my go-to rig for the
What
bite.
about you, Sal?
So I don't know if you guys are into making your own rigs, but you should try it. It's fun. You got a little winter to do nothing, make some rigs. This is just a simple rig, okay? So here you have a dropper loop right here, okay? And then you have the hook going off the dropper loop. If you see this, this could even be longer. I like this to be longer than where the sinker is coming down. So this sits on the bottom, right? And then this has a little play in it. Two hooks, yeah, you can put another dropper loop. You can hook two hooks up to a crab. I trap my own green crabs in Montauk right off my dock. And I also have a couple of spots where I can get Asian crabs in Montauk. Okay, I get out there, put my boots on, slippery rocks, turn over some rocks, get some Asian crabs. And then the hermit crabs. They're a little expensive, but they work. You have to have options. Everybody on the boat is talking. Do you use a whole crab? Do you use a half a crab? Do you use a green? Do you use an Asian? Do you use this? Do you use that? What do you use? Where'd you get that one on?
Yep.
Do you have the legs off? Do you take the legs off? I'm using a whole crab with the legs on. Okay. I'm using a whole crab with the legs off. okay, and crushing it. You know, I like that, and I like to use, I like to take Asian crabs, you know, because they're smaller, and just give them one whack so the shell is cracked.
Get that juice out there.
Yeah, get the juice out there and put it on a hook, or like to hook the green crabs, once you take those legs off the green crabs, it actually take the hook in one leg and then out the other, so the crab is almost sitting on the side of the hook. And that's how I hook my green crabs.
What size hook do you have on that? Because we haven't mentioned the size.
This
of the
is,
crab.
you know, I use all different kinds. This is, you know, traditionally old school Virginia hooks. I don't know if you know what a Virginia hook. That all the blackfish, there you go. All the blackfish rigs with the, so it has a long, straight shank. This is not quite a Virginia, okay, but it has a longish shank. Some of my buddies use circle hooks. I don't particularly like circle hooks for blackfish. I like a Virginia style hook.
And these are size 4 that Joey has here. And I
This
usually
is like a 3.
Right. I go with the 4s, you know, when you're using larger bait, or even down to the 2. Joey, talk about your rigs and what you're using.
Well, to touch on both their rigs, if you have a strong current, the snap rig actually is one of my favorite rigs, but with a lot of current, I noticed that it's kind of messed it up. The current grabs a hold, it makes a, you know, the crab sitting this way now instead of not in line with the current. So there's a lot of current. I would use your rig. I would go to a single hook with a chunk. It's going to sit better, better presentation. But my favorite is right here.
Yes.
The jigs.
So why don't you
This is the latest and the greatest. It's so much fun. What's great about the jigs is that if you're using, say, 6 ounces to get to the bottom, I'm getting down with 1 ounce, no problem, and it's going to hold bottom. But if this jig does walk, it's fine, because I think that a lot of times, I'll rewind a little. When I fish structure, I like to fish the edges. I'm not a big fan of retying rigs, so I kind of fish the edges, and I build fish on the edge of the structure. What I'll do is I'll fish this, and if once it hits the bottom, if it stays straight, if it doesn't, if it's walking slowly, it's okay, because I really think that replicates a crab walking along the bottom. So you have your little spinner rods, and I'm talking light stuff, you know, little 4,000, 3,000 spinner reels, anywhere from 30 to 40 pound test,
Right.
30 pound fluorocarbon, leader to 40 pound, whatever. It's a whole new world. Get this jig on the bottom, jig's gonna sit. If it starts walking back slowly, you'll see it start going. Now, with the jig, sometimes you're gonna feel balance it. A lot of times they're just gonna pick it up and just start walking with it and start going. And you'll see the line will start moving, there'll be a little twitch, whatever it may be. It's a totally different thing. It's not the tut-tut-tut, you know, like you normally would feel. Tut-tut-tut. We'll talk about that later. The tug is a drug, my friend, right?
That's back.
So, with the jigs now, I mean, this little jig right here, this is a 3/4. Yeah, this is a 3/4.
Any color in particular? A lot of people I've seen find that they use the red coloring, or what do you use in chartreuse?
My favorite is naked, straight
Really?
up. I love if I can get them naked, but you know, green, white, anything. I've caught them on this.
How you hooking the crab?
Same thing. Take the legs off, it's a chunk I'm going to use, and put it through one socket. I don't know if you can see it, and out the other socket. And basically like that. If you use an Asian, the whole crab again, one and out. I like to crush them. I totally believe in crushing the baits. I think when it gets down, those particles going off, when they smell it, they see it.
What's the take like on a jig? Is it like when you're using bait? Is it the same pop, you know, or is it?
It depends. Sometimes it's going to grab it, it's going to swim with it. You'll see the line just move, you know. And also, you don't want to have tension on that line, whether it's a weight or the jig or anything. You always want to have that little bit of a bow. If you keep the tension of that weight coming on and off the bottom, that just scares them. You know, they're going to run from that. You want to keep that bow in the line.
Right.
You're tight. You know, the swell's going, that weight's going up and down, up, and then blackfish like this say, hell with that, I'm not going to do that. You know? So you definitely want to keep that little bow in the line. With the jig, you will sometimes feel a tap like that, and it's strong like you would with a bait. And that might be because you have that line, now it's pulling on that line, so you feel that, you know, it's radiating through the line, it's different. This, to grab it, to swim with it, to feel the taps. But the thing is, what you could do with the jig is like, it's different on all different shores. Someone told me once up on the North Shore area, they actually jig it. We don't jig it at all. Even though it's a jig, we do not jig it. We put it down at the bottom, let's do a lift, put it back down, you feel the weight. Sometimes you'll lift, you'll feel the fish there, set up on it. Or, you know, like I said, it's drifting back slowly, let over the line, drift it back, and all of a sudden the line will start going. And you know you have a fish
It's a
on
new
as well.
thing. People are catching plenty of fish like that. Alberto, I do see that you got your rig there. So we only have 5 minutes, but I want you to tell me
5
this.
minutes, are you kidding me?
Do you believe how fast the time goes here?
Well, this is Deena's rig, and as you can see, everybody's rig, the bottom line is, you know, Tautog is probably the most finickiest and the most humbling fish there are, period. You know, and if you think you know a lot about them, go back to school 101 because
Right.
you don't know anything about
That's
them.
exactly
Because they
right.
will turn on you. As you can see, this is the common rig that everybody's talking about. But there's one thing, because if you're going to go for the real legitimate, the big one,
Yeah,
that's
top
called the white chin,
trophy.
you know,
Yep.
honestly, a simple overloop knot, just like this, because the biggest are the biggest, and because they're very structural, they will, I guarantee you, they will take you into their kitchen. That's where those rocks are, that's where the pilings are, and so forth. And with this is going to snap, all right? You're not going to lose the entire rig. This is snapping off, and the rest you bring the fish up. That's one of the key things that I normally do. On the end, you know, everybody's talking about, oh, you know how finicky they are. Oh, one day they was like, I give up, I can't walk them. Take it easy, take a deep breath. The key thing on Tautog, in all seriousness, because if you're in your mind you're saying, I can't hook these darn things, you're done. The fish just won.
Get in your head.
I'm going to tell you, oh yeah, they always do.
Yep.
One key thing, if you're going to leave this room about Tautogging, I'm going to give you this, actually two things. One of them, you guys are going to, no, I'll talk about that later. If you, like we were talking, the tug, swing, and miss. We all know swing and miss is part of the game. If you do that, the swing and the miss, all I'm going to ask you is, as soon as you feel the tug, it's like, oh no. Because it's this timing game. Put your arms down, like you were saying, they got a little ball. Watch the line. And the reason why they're tugging and letting go is very simple. It's not natural. When you have a bait out there, they see a crab, they're used to, boom, all right, they suck it right in. This one, when you keep the line taut, they take it, it's like, what the hell? This crab's still dangling, he's going, yeah, look at me. No, it's not about that. As soon as you do that tug, belly it, because I guarantee you, 99.9, when you watch the line go, you cross your eyes. That is how you tog. All right? Now, we're talking about how difficult it is to get white crabs. I'll be honest with you. Being the Tautog connoisseur that I am, I'm telling you right now, end of September, October, and November, you go to the South Shore, any dock, okay, just drop your trap out there. You will get the candy little Jonas crab.
Those are nice. Since we have 1 minute, Deena, I'm going to start with you. Give me your top tactic to target trophy tautog. And that's an alliteration
Top
right there.
tactic, to be completely honest,
Yeah.
have good tackle.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's for me number one. I mean, I'm helping you on the deck. That's my job, is to help you catch more fish. Getting down there, obviously being patient and not swinging away from the bite. But number one, if you don't have good knots and good tackle, you're going to lose that big fish every
That's a
time.
good point. Check it out.
That is my number one.
Sal, how about your top tip for targeting the trophy?
Patience, patience, patience. You can't overreact. I get a lot of people on the boat, they think they're, I don't know, 40 fish on it. You know, just be calm and you'll get them. You'll get them.
Takes a little time. Joe, your top tip.
Definitely wait out the small bites. Don't just swing on everything. Wait for the right bite.
What is that right bite with the big fish do? Just so real quick.
It's real, you know, it's like ripping that rod out of your hand. It's a much different bite. And of course, throw a jig down.
There you go.
That's it. Throw the jig down. Honestly, you're going to catch the biggest fish on the jig. Don't know why, but it happens.
Well, that's how it works. You guys, this is my panel for Todd. Give him a good hand.